Hey, I'm Coach Katrina, a personal trainer and owner of the club. I have lost 100 pounds 2 times in my life and gained it back 3 times. And what I find works best for my body and my mind is to just find balance with food. So here's Kleanish Eats with Coach. Hey y'all, Coach Katrina here. Today I am cooking sausage, rapini, and potatoes. So a pretty simple meat and potatoes kind of meal, but then of course as always getting a vegetable in there somehow as well. So I just have extra hot sausage, and I'm going to be searing it before I bake it in the oven with the potatoes. So I'm just gonna let that start to sear on one side, and then I'll give it a flip. And first I put a little bit of olive oil on the pan just so that it didn't stick. So of course when you're handling meat, you're gonna want to wash your hands before you go ahead and touch all of your other things. So as that's going, I've had my potatoes blanching in just some hot boiling water. I would say it's all going to depend on your potato size, how long you have to keep them in for, but essentially when I go to put a knife through, if it's fairly simple, then that's good enough. And these are just some small red potatoes. Typically these are more nutritious of the potato family, so I have these guys, and they're gonna go in, like I said, with the sausage to roast in the oven. Doing the blanching and boiling before will just typically speed up the process for cooking them or roasting them. But I like to roast them because then they have crunch, but if you like boiled potatoes, do that, whatever you like. So I just put a little bit of olive oil in the pan that we're gonna be putting the sausage and potatoes in. And I'm going to be throwing some chunks of onion in there as well. I'm going to just cut those into like larger chunks. You don't have to dice the onion big. And that's just one whole white onion, but you can use really whatever kind of onion you have. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut the potatoes, some of them in half. Some of them are quite small, so like these size will be okay to just throw in there, but then some of them are like double the size, so those ones I'll cut just so that they roast evenly. So I'm going to finish cutting these and getting them into the pan, and then I'm going to season everything. I'm going to give these a flip. Probably could have left that for a minute more, but I'll just make sure this next side is a little bit more. Okay, we'll see you in a sec. And there'll be some room for the sausage. Perfect. Separate these onions a bit. Okay. We are going to put salt. We're going to put some onion powder. I'm out of garlic powder, but that's okay. I like spice, so I'm going to put some paprika. Oh, this is cayenne. Honestly, I forget. I think it's paprika. Either way, honestly, for me, either is good. And some black pepper. That was my sausage. Let's give these a whirl. I would say that I used about 2-ish, maybe a little bit more tablespoons of olive oil because I don't want the potatoes to stick. And now I think our sausage is good. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll go with. So, as a single person, like obviously I'm not going to be eating all of this with my dinner tonight. But I like making meals like this that will last me a few meals throughout the week. So this will give me about 4 meals. So it'll be nice because either my lunch or my dinner will be taken care of for the next few days. Okay, so now I'm going to throw that at the oven. I have had the oven preheating at 300 and about 75 degrees. I'm going to turn this off for a sec. And I'm going to throw this in. So the next thing while that's in the oven that I'm going to work on is the rapini. Now, if you don't like rapini, have broccoli or have any other vegetable that you would like. Even a nice salad would be good with this meal. I really like rapini, and this is how my Nana taught me how to cook it. So this was 2 bushels, and I just cut off the ends, and then I cut them in half, and then I washed them in some water. So she would usually like clean out her sink, fill it with cold water, put the rapini in, and then like do this, drain the sink, and then do that like one more time. And I don't really know why, but it was really important that it go from like soaking wet. So in here I did that. I rinsed it, washed it, like massaged it, got it really nice and clean, and then took the water out, and then I put some cold water back in. And now I have a big pan, obviously, because this is a lot, and we'll just make sure that we need a cover so that it can steam. The element is on medium, that was too high, but anyway, so now we can go ahead and put the rapini in, and super wet. Okay. I might even have to do this in 2 batches, it seems, because it's already filled. And it will like wilt it down, but I do want it to cook properly. So I'm gonna say that that's a good amount. So I'll just end up having to do it twice, but that's cool. So now I'm just gonna cover it, and that will start to steam. In the meantime, while that is cooking, I just have a smaller pan over here that I'm going to cook some garlic in. So there's probably 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil in there, but considering it's going to go on this much rapini and last me comparable, that's not a lot of oil in one meal. Okay, so obviously, like if you don't like garlic, I would probably just suggest using a little bit of garlic powder still with the rapini to give it some flavor, but if you like garlic, feel free to go crazy and put as many cloves as you want. So my camera overheated, and then as I was fixing that, my garlic and chili or Cajun seasoning burnt, so I re-put more oil in, I recut some garlic, now I can put this Cajun, but again, usually I would just be using chili flakes instead of this, but this will do. The first batch of rapini was finished cooking, so I put the second in. You see how much it wilts down, kind of crazy, and then I know that it's done when I kind of press into it and it's soft. Now some people like their rapini like more hard or more soft, so cook to whatever you're liking in. It can be chewy, and I honestly haven't mastered how to not make it chewy. and I don't have Nana to ask how to fix it. So I like it even when it's chewy. It just requires typically using a knife with it. So now that it's steamed, and I'm gonna make sure that this is not going to burn again. So I just wanted to fry the garlic a little bit first. That's looking good. It's staying golden brown, not turning black like it did the last time. So I just dumped the water out of there. Now I can transfer the oil and garlic into the big pan so that I can then toss the rapini in with the oil and garlic. And so it won't need to cook that long since it's already pretty well done, as is the garlic. Just gonna toss it a bit, leave this to fry, and then I'm gonna check on my sausage, probably going to flip it, and soon this will be all ready. So this meal was fairly simple in my opinion, and so you're probably asking, like, what's the need for this cooking show if it is so simple? But I guess it's to really help those who don't know how to cook, and to show them that meals that they're probably having already are probably fine if they are a meat and potatoes kind of person, but that doing something like adding a vegetable in, especially like a green vegetable, is really nutritious for us. And you know, if you do have a family to feed and you want to make yourself lunch for the week, double this portion. It is going to take you longer, of course, in the kitchen, but then that just means we need to prioritize our time, because I would say that all in all this will end up taking about 30 minutes. So maybe if it takes that extra 45 or hour in the grand scheme of our day, I would say that's a relatively small amount of time to be able to provide a meal as well as cook 3 to 4 meals for your week. Ooh, and I forgot to salt my rapini, so definitely add a generous amount of salt. And so this has been frying probably for about 5 minutes, and it's pretty much done. Another thing with rapini, some people like to cut it up, like I only chopped it in half. Some people like to chop it like in 4, so then pieces are more bite-sized, but it's really up to your preference. So now I'm just gonna put this in a container. If I was smart, I'd be putting it right into little Tupperware containers now. And definitely make sure you get all of the garlic and all of that juice in there. Don't want any of that flavor being left out. Beautiful. All right, so our sausage and potatoes are done. Again, cook these to your preference. If you like them a little bit more crispy or well done, keep them in a bit longer. I would say these were in there about 20 minutes ish. I wasn't really looking at the clock, but that's my best guess for time. So we're gonna throw one of the sausage. So for a simple way to have a healthy plate, I typically follow a general rule of half a plate of vegetables, a quarter plate of protein, and then a quarter plate of I want to get the crispier ones, quarter plate of a smart carbohydrate. And then of course within here we also have healthy fats. So, you know, that's a simple way to do it. change this out for any vegetable you like. Change this for any other, you know, complex carb, sweet potato, rice, quinoa, you know, brown pasta if you want. Basically, we're just trying to stay away from more processed sugars or, you know, simple carbs like white pasta. And again, I'm not saying not to have those things. I would say where you can, if you can make some healthier substitutions, you might feel better, you might perform better. And then same thing for the protein. Okay, if you're vegetarian, of course, have your healthy protein and substitute here. And then as well, you know, you could have ribs here, you could have chicken here, you could have pork chops here, you could have fish here. But if you're in general building a plate that sort of looks like this, I'd say you're on track to eating in a more cleanish way. Enjoy. I gotta give it a taste though. Let's see, Nana. I was hoping that wearing her apron today would really help me to channel her rapini making skills. Oh yeah, and it did. That's good.